You ever see those big government economic plans and just wonder, what does this actually mean for me? For my job, my wallet, my future? Well, today we're going to cut through all the jargon. We're breaking down Malaysia's official economic blueprint for 2025 to figure out what it really means for you.
All right, so first things first, let's get the big picture. Before we can even talk about where we're going, we need to know where we're standing right now. So how is the overall health of the nation's economy looking?
Okay, the big headline number you're going to see everywhere for 2025 is this: a projected economic growth of somewhere between 4.5 and 5.5%. This is the main sign that the government is expecting a pretty positive year ahead. But what does a number like that actually mean?
So how do they even get to that number? Well, it's all about something called GDP, or Gross Domestic Product. That's basically just a fancy way of measuring the total value of everything we make and sell in the country. As you can see from the table, the 2025 projection is built on some steady growth from the last couple of years. So this isn't just some random number. It's based on real expectations that global trade is going to pick up, especially for our electronics, and that people right here at home will keep spending.
So we know the what. The economy is supposed to grow. But the real question is, how are we going to get there? And that brings us to the government's main strategy.
This is where something called Ekonomi MADANI comes in. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like the country's official game plan. It's got three main goals. First, to restructure the economy so we can compete better on the world stage. Second, to push for stronger growth. And third, and this is the most important part, to actually improve life for all of us.
And this plan has three massive targets. First up, cutting the fiscal deficit to 3%. It's kind of like the country tightening its belt, trying to spend more responsibly. Second, they want to crack the top 25 in the Global Corruption Perception Index. That's all about building trust and transparency. And third, and this one's a big deal for all of us, is to increase labor's share of income to 45%. That just means making sure a bigger slice of the economic pie actually goes into workers' pockets as salaries, not just to company profits.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we get that growth and see those higher wages? Well, the plan isn't about just doing more of the same old stuff. It's about making a bet on the industries of the future.
The whole strategy here is to focus on what they're calling high-growth, high-value sectors. In plain English, it means we stop just being the factory that assembles things and start being the brains that design and create the really valuable, high-tech stuff. It's about becoming a creator, not just a producer.
And they're really zooming in on two key areas. First, semiconductors. Malaysia's already a huge player in testing and packaging computer chips, but the plan is to push us even further into more valuable work, like actual chip design. Then there's green mobility. We're talking everything from electric cars to building out the charging stations we'll all need.
And look, this isn't just wishful thinking. They're putting serious money where their mouth is. Government-linked investment companies are pumping a massive 120 billion ringgit into these exact sectors through a program called Gear Up.
All right, if this breakdown is starting to give you a clearer picture of where Malaysia is headed, do me a quick favor and hit that like and subscribe button. It's the best way to make sure you always stay one step ahead on the country's biggest stories.
Okay, we've been talking about all this big picture national strategy stuff, but let's bring it right back down to earth. What does any of this actually mean for your bank account, your job, and yeah, even the price of your teh tarik?
Right, let's connect the dots from national policy straight to your daily life. Because at the end of the day, a plan is only good if it actually helps people, right?
And let's be honest, the cost of living right now is no joke. It's tough. This data here gives you a rough idea of the minimum you might need to spend just to get by as a single person in the Klang Valley. The financial pressure is real, and this is exactly the problem that the government support programs are trying to solve.
So what's the plan to help you cope? Well, it comes down to a few key support programs. You've probably heard of them. There's STR, which is direct cash aid. There's SARA for help with groceries and essentials. You've got BAP for back-to-school costs. And there's the new Budi MADANI program, which is targeted cash help for diesel prices.
And we're not talking small change here. Just for that one program, Sumbangan Tunai Rama, the government has set aside a massive 8 billion ringgit. That's going to help about 8.5 million people.
But direct aid is a short-term fix. The real long-term answer is better jobs that pay better wages. And that's where that whole focus on high-value industries comes back into play. We're already seeing a step in that direction with the new pay raise for civil servants coming in December 2024, which is supposed to set a new standard that hopefully the private sector will follow.
Okay, so the plan sounds pretty good on paper, right? But what are the roadblocks? What could go wrong? Let's take a balanced look at the road ahead.
Look, on the one side, the opportunities are massive. We're talking about attracting world-class investments, finally getting the country's finances on solid ground, and building a greener economy. But on the other side, the challenges are very real. Things happening halfway across the world can mess with our trade, the cost of living is a constant battle, and we have to make sure that people in rural areas don't get left behind.
Hey, thanks so much for sticking with me through all of this. If you believe in getting clarity instead of confusion on the big issues shaping our country, then join our community. All you have to do is tap like, hit subscribe, and let's keep making sense of Malaysia's future together.
Because really, at the end of the day, it all boils down to one simple question. The vision is there to build a country that's not just richer, but also fairer for everyone. But the road from a plan to reality is all about execution. So, will these plans actually deliver for everyone? Well, that is the billion-dollar question we'll all be watching.